What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results on yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $300 just yesterday. Another member who won $160 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Niang, and this one is a great one because this one is actually for 3-pointers, and this is for 2.5 3-pointers to be exact, and this is for less. Now, when we look at Niang, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Indiana Pacers. Now, we look at the Indiana Pacers, they are a decent team, but when we look at their 3-point percentages allowed, we do see that the Pacers rank pretty decently, I would say, as they do actually rank 15th. Moving on into 3-point attempts allowed, we actually do see the Pacers rank a little bit better as they rank 9th, and then 3 points made allowed, we do see that the Pacers rank a little bit lower as they actually rank, in that 12th spot. So when it comes to the Pacers, they do a pretty decent job, I would say mid-tier when it comes to 3-point defending. And on top of that, when we look at Indiana, we actually see them do a really good job at defending the 3-ball when it comes to the forward position. So we definitely see that being enough to see someone like Niang go on the under in this situation here. Indiana do rank really decently, and on a per position basis, we also see them do a pretty good job. Now, when it comes to Niang in general, we think that this line is just a little bit too high due to the fact that they did have an outlier game against Detroit. So he did have 7 3-balls in that game. It was a little bit of an outlier. He got a hot hand, but we don't see that happening coming into this next matchup, especially against Indiana Pacers, who do a great job defensively. So we think that this line now is a little bit too high, that we see a lot more value actually to go on the under here. So for that reason, I definitely would and stick to the under. As average over the last 5, yes, it is 3.2. Yes, it is above the line, but that outlier game I think has just kind of shifted it a little bit too high. So for that reason, 2.5 3 points made for Niang for under or for less, I think is great. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about Wendell Carter Jr. So Wendell, great player as we all know. This one is for 9.5 rebounds and this one is for less. Now, when we look at Wendell Carter Jr., we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than Chicago Bulls. So, Chicago Bulls are a decent team. Now, when it comes to the Bulls, however, when we look at their rebounds allowed, we do see that they rank 29th. Now, the reason why we still do like the under for someone like Wendell Carter is that Wendell doesn't really had that much of a great usage rate as of lately when it comes to the rebounding department. Like I mentioned, he's only gone, he's gone under 4 out of the last 5 games. So his rebounding rate has just definitely not been there as of lately. And we think that cold streak is definitely going to play into this next matchup. Now, on top of that, Bulls also do a really good job at restricting rebounds to the big man position. So for that reason, for someone like Wendell, who technically usually plays that center position, sometimes you see him in the power forward, we definitely see him going on the under here due to the fact that Bulls do a decent job at actually restricting those rebounds. Now, his average over the last 5 is 8.8, so significantly below this line. He did have one game where he went on the over against Golden State Warriors, but we think that is a little bit of an outlier game. We should see him go on the under here because all signs really do point towards the under for this situation here. Now, on top of that, this matchup between Orlando and Chicago, we are expecting a pretty slow-paced game. Both of these teams aren't really the best when it comes to pace, so we are expecting slow amount of volume, which should lead to low amount of volume as well for someone like Wendell, especially in the rebounding department. So definitely keep an eye out for the under for this situation. So Wendell Carter, 9.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about Terance Mann. So Terance Mann, as we all know, fantastic player. However, this one is a great one because this is actually for assist and this one is for 2.5. So this one's assist for 2.5 and this one is for less. Now, when we look at someone like Terance Mann, we've actually seen him go on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the actual Indiana Pacers. So we most recently just did talk about this matchup, but when we look at Indiana Pacers from the assist standpoint, we see that the Pacers do rank when it comes to assists allowed. We see that they rank 16th. So mid-tier in that category. However, they do rank very good at restricting assists to the small forward position, which is where we actually tend to see Terance Mann play. Now, Mann has been able to go on the over recently over the last, 4 games, but we definitely see him still going on the under because, like we always mention, matchups. That's what's most important. He's versus teams that are very, very, easy when it comes to allowing assists. But now that he does face off against much more of a tougher defensive matchup when it comes to allowing assists, we should see him go on the under on this one. So, when we look at his average over the last 5, yes, it is 3.2. And yes, he's had some great games, but easier matchup, so definitely it would lead to that. But now with a tougher matchup like Indiana, we should see it go the other way. Now when we look at his average over the last 5, 3.2, like we mentioned. However, when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Terance Mann, 2.5 assists for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines, so here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jimmy Butler. Now, as you all know, Jimmy Butler is a fantastic player, now plays for his new team, the Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Warriors have been doing great with Jimmy Butler on their team. And Jimmy Butler, so far this season, so this is also including his Miami Heat days, is averaging 16.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4.9 assists, and also shooting 51.1% from the field. But on top of that, Jimmy Butler and the new Golden State Warriors have been playing absolutely fantastic. They've been doing a fantastic job as they have had this great addition, and Jimmy Butler's usage rate remains to stay pretty high. Now, they do face off against the Brooklyn Nets coming into this matchup. And when we look at the Brooklyn Nets, we do see that they have a record of 21-40, while the Warriors have a record of 34-28. Now, looking at Brooklyn Nets, what we also do see is that the Brooklyn Nets, when it comes to points allowed, do rank 8th. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 14th, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 6th. So they actually rank pretty high to mid-tier in all 3 categories. However, when it comes to someone like Jimmy Butler III, we do very much like the over for this situation here. A big reason being is that we don't feel that Jimmy Butler's lines have adjusted for his new team just as of yet. He's been able to really beat his line consistently, which is what we like to see. And with a matchup like Brooklyn Nets also do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the small forward position. So we definitely see someone like Jimmy Butler being able to take advantage of this in all 3 facets, whether it's rebounds, whether it's assists, or whether it's points. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Jimmy Butler. Now, I wouldn't really focus on one certain sort of aspect of his game. I think he has the capabilities to go over in all 3 due to the fact that Jimmy Butler has such a great usage rate in all 3 departments. So for that reason, I do very much like the over for this situation here, and we definitely do like the over, especially for someone like Jimmy Butler coming into this matchup. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Jimmy Butler and the over in this situation here. Now, getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Payton Pritchard. So Payton Pritchard has been playing fantastic for the Boston Celtics, and when we actually look at his average over the last 5 or over the last season, we actually see him average 13.9 points, 3.7 rebounds, 3.4 assists, while also shooting 47.2% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics do have themselves a great matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, as you all know, Philadelphia 76ers haven't had the greatest season so far, and it continues to be a bit of a problem for them. But when it comes to 76ers, they do rank 17th when it comes to points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 24th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the 76ers rank 17th. So they rank pretty mid to low tier in all 3 categories, and we definitely do like the over for this situation for someone like Pritchard, as we definitely see him being able to take advantage of this and go on the over here. When we look at this matchup, we are actually expecting a blowout situation, and when it comes to Payton Pritchard, he tends to really actually come off the bench usually. Sometimes he does start, but we are expecting a little bit more usage rate and a little bit more minutes from him, especially for this matchup, as if the 76ers end up having a blowout situation, we could see Pritchard get a lot more minutes. And the fact that 76ers are in a position where they are looking to tank, we may not see 76ers come out with, you know, all their stars, play them a good amount of minutes. We could just see them try to lose the game pretty much on purpose. So if that is the reason, we think Pritchard is definitely going to have a higher usage rate than normal. We definitely saw that in the game against Portland. He had himself 43 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he pretty much beat every single line, and we are expecting a similar situation and a similar type of game coming into this next one. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over for someone like Payton Pritchard. So keep an eye out for his line. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go in the over, because I definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Alperen Sengun. So, Alperen Sengun, great player, and as we all know, he's been doing fantastic for the Houston Rockets, as he has been averaging 19.2 points, 10.5 rebounds, 4.8 assists, while also shooting 49.2% from the field. So he's done a great job for none other than the Houston Rockets, and the Rockets do have themselves a great matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, we look at the New Orleans Pelicans, we see that the Pelicans rank 26th when it comes to points allowed. On top of that, they rank 26th when it comes to assists allowed, and then 28th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So very low in all three categories, and since they do rank very low in all three categories, we definitely see someone like Alperen Sengun going on the over in this situation here. Sengun also is a center, and when it comes to this matchup, when we look at the Pelicans also do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. And the fact that Pelicans is in a situation where they are looking to tank, we could see Sengun just be able to take advantage of this and have himself a pretty easy game coming into this matchup. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for someone like Sengun. He's definitely been playing great, and when we look at it also, you know, his last 5 games, he's coming off a game where he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, so he's able to really put up big numbers when he is taking advantage of, you know, poor defensive teams, and we definitely see that being the case here. On top of that, Pelicans and the matchup against Rockets, Pelicans are a little bit more faster pace, but we actually have seen time and time again Pelicans do a really good job at speeding up slower paced teams, so we definitely see that being the case here. So we could see Sengun get a little bit more volume in the points, rebounds, and assist department than he usually does see. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for Alperen Sengun.